Let freedom ring. Let the white dove sing.
Herman Cain is probably well liked by some of the Republicans because it hides the racist elements of the Republican Party and Tea Party movement, one and the same.
The Tea Partyers, their stated policy is to do whatever it takes to see to it that Obama only serves one term.
Stop complaining. Stop grumbling. Stop crying. We are going to press on. We've got work to do. CBC.
Freedom is back in style. Welcome to the revolution.
We'll put a boot in your ass. It's the American way.
This is the Sean Hannity Show.
All right, thanks, Scott Shannon. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. Toll free, it's 800-941-SEAN if you want to be a part of the program. And Governor Palin announced yesterday she is not going to be running for the 2012 presidential nomination. And Governor Palin joins us now from the great state of Alaska in Wasilla. Governor, how are you?
I'm doing great. Hey, Sean, I love your bumper music, or maybe I could only hear that on the telephone.
Yeah, no, that was, we were playing Hank Williams Jr., and did you hear what Hank said, by the way?
I did, and I heard that he apologized, and that's cool, and I thought, hey, as if our own President Obama has not said things that have so disparaged constitutional conservatives who are patriots and love this country, calling us enemies, basically. The hypocrisy there has been quite astounding.
This just broke a few minutes ago. After reading hundreds of emails, Hank sent out a press release. I've made my decision. He said, by pulling my opening on October the 3rd, you, ESPN, stepped on the toes of the First Amendment, freedom of speech. So therefore, me, my song, and all my rowdy friends are out of here. It's been a great run. Hank Williams Jr.
He is a patriot. He is, and I had a blast with him on the campaign trail as he really stuck his neck out in the kind of the genre that he represents, and they're the Hollywood type that perhaps some assume that he is a part of. He took a lot of risks in campaigning for Senator McCain and for me a couple of years ago, and sure appreciated his boldness.
Do you notice, though, this is driving me nuts. Bill Maher can say the most vicious, vile, hateful things, and a lot of liberals out there, about you and your children and your family and the minutia of your life. You can have a psycho stalker moving next door to you, and, you know, hardly any attention is paid to it. Nobody certainly is asked to apologize. And Hank says, you know what, that was for the wrong words. I shouldn't have used it. And nobody wants to hear it, at least at ESPN. And I think this is going to be a backlash against him.
Well, I do, too. I mean, here, again, yes, he apologized, and they still want to boot him. You know, what about Mike Tyson and the sports station that recently came out talking very crudely and some sick comments made? I don't care that it was about me, but some sick comments made, and no apologies there, no nothing. Again, the hypocrisy shines very bright in what it is that we deal with every day, doesn't it, Sean?
Boy, it really does. I don't want to live in a society where we're that uptight. You know, I was saying on the air yesterday, you know, my grandparents came to this country from Ireland at the turn of the last century. And if somebody says, hey, Hannity, what is an Irish 7-course meal? And they go, I said, what is it? A 6-pack and a potato. You know what? I'm not offended. I think we're getting so hypersensitive today. And political correctness runs amok. I mean, if you're a radio DJ, if you're a talk show host, if you're a politician, you know, nobody gets to revise and extend their remarks. Nobody gets to say, you know what, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that, and the apology is accepted. But it's a one-way street, because there's been more vicious, horrible things said about you than anybody I know.
Well, it's a one-way street, and that we're always walking on eggshells, aren't we? Like, oh, geez, if I say that, is somebody going to misinterpret it or spin it as something that is, quote-unquote, racist or sexist or anything else? But the other side, as you point out, they can say whatever they want, and nobody calls them on it. I think it's pretty disgusting, but... Hank Williams and what he is going through now, I think it's a very clear illustration of a greater societal problem, and that is the hypocrisy on the left, the liberals who can throw these stones at a conservative, and they knowing that they're not going to be held accountable and for what it is that they say. And you know why that is true? It's because the mainstream media, being run 90% of the time, I believe, by the liberals themselves, there's no one to hold them accountable. They're not listening to us. And that's why we appreciate you, Sean. We appreciate those who are bold and courageous and proud of their constitutional and conservative rights that they exercise and beliefs that they make manifest. We appreciate you.
Well, thank you, and we appreciate you. I'm curious. It's very funny. I think, for all these years, we're now celebrating our 15th anniversary. We're in Atlanta today, and we're going to do a live show at Centennial Park, and we got a great lineup tonight, and anybody can come, and I hope they do. And, I can't believe I've been on Fox now for 15 years. And I kind of pat myself on the back a little bit, and I always get a sense of where people are going. And you were the most difficult read. At certain points, I thought you were going to run for president. At other points, I doubted you were going to get in. And I watched you, I think, go through a process. Maybe I'm wrong. Can you walk us through what was going on your side of things?
Oh, you're astute there in this assumption, anyway, that you're articulating that I went through a process. I certainly did, and knowing that, first of all, as I told Mark Levin yesterday, this isn't about me. It's not about an individual, Sarah Palin up here in Alaska, thinking that I should have been the one to lead the nation, but knowing that it is about us, so many of us on this team trying to wake up America to what President Obama is trying to do to this country in transforming us into something unrecognizable, and we'll do all that we can to replace this president and members of the House and Senate who don't want to defend our republic and our Constitution. So it's not about me. But the process that I went through, Sean, was involving prayerful consideration and a lot of consideration given to family life in what a year-long campaign could do to a family and to my voice and the message that many of us know needs to get out there across the country. So prayerful, and then concluding that just very recently making that final conclusion that I believe I can be more effective continuing in a decisive role to help elect true public servants into these positions that we need of leadership.
Now, I've got to assume here that you had to factor in the impact this would have on your family. And you even referred to it in your statement. I assume that you understood that you were being treated on a whole different level, and the vicious attacks that you have gone through and really has never stopped since you were named as John McCain's vice presidential candidate. How big a factor, if any, was that in your thinking, knowing what was going to come your way if you, in fact, threw your hat in the ring?
Well, it's funny because every day something new is made up or, thrown out there about the Palin family. And I always think, it can't get any more ridiculous than this rumor. And yet then the next day something else more ridiculous comes out.
I got to tell you, I really admire your ability to take, roll with the punches. And it's like water off a duck's back to you, seemingly. I mean, unless it really agonizes you behind the scenes. But I don't see that.
No, it doesn't really agonize me. I think that some people really make fools of themselves making things up. Like, for instance, that Todd or I have had affairs. There's never been affairs. There haven't been drugs. There haven't been, I am Trigg's mother. All those things that we still hear about kind of make me laugh. I think an unfortunate thing is when those things are made up from people within our own GOP establishment or coming from the leftovers of the McCain campaign, people who are still trying to gin up controversy and rumors because I guess they have nothing else to do. But no, it doesn't traumatize me, Sean, because I know what really matters in this world. What really matters is faith, freedom as an American, and a strong family. And I have those things, so I hold on to them. And I know that other people, they're really hurting. They're losing jobs. Perhaps they have lost someone over in a war zone. Perhaps they have a child who is not healthy. They have much tougher battles than I have, so I keep things in perspective. But I know that the decision that I have made to not run for the office of presidency, but instead to help others be propelled into positions of leadership is the right thing for my family. It's the right thing for me. It's the right thing for our supporters. and I believe for this country, because there's a lot of things that have to get done in this country to turn things around and to defend this republic, and I look forward to helping strategize on the good plans to get there.
How close were you at any one given moment to jumping in?
Very close, very close. Todd and I, our family, and the family would have been supportive of a decision to go ahead and run. Quite close, but again, just, weighing every factor, pros and cons, the decision was made, and look forward to moving forward now with the decision that has been announced.
Yeah. It was funny because when I interviewed your daughter, Bristol, when she was in New York, and I think you had to deal with the aftermath of that because she said, oh, yeah, my mom's already made her decision. And that was one moment where I thought, she's in. She's going to run. Was there a point in time where you said to her, honey, I think I'm going to run?
I asked as recent as yesterday, before I publicly made the announcement, I asked our other daughter, Willow, what do you think? Final decision, and what do you think? I've been thinking, and she says, I know you're running, Mom. I just know you are. So the kids, their opinions, their views of observing this whole process has run the gamut. A couple of them thought for sure I was running. A couple of them thought, no way, Mom. You really keep doing what you're doing, and it will all be good.
All right, let me ask you this question. The field is now pretty much set. I don't see anybody else or any more speculation going on there, and I know there was some flirtation with Chris Christie, and I don't think he ever had any intention to run. And it bothered me that people were almost begging him to run, because I think that has got to come from within. You went through this process. You made your decision. I don't want people running because, other people told me I should run and that they think I'd be better than the other candidates and they're promising me all this money to run. I think it's got to be something that you have a passion for, because it is such a difficult process. The field now is set. How do you feel about the crop of candidates that are out there? I mean, you've got Mitt Romney and Governor Perry and Herman Cain and Newt Gingrich and Rick Santorum and Ron Paul. I mean, do you find that you could support all of those candidates should they win? Michelle Bachmann?
They all have good conservative credentials. They all bring different strengths to the table. I like what I see. I appreciate that they're willing to be in the arena. What I am going to be looking for, though, is a candidate who understands the need to embrace immediate action towards energy independence. And sometimes that's a bit lacking in some of the candidates who've been absent from the argument that I've been making for these 20 years, that we have got to quit relying on foreign sources of energy, countries that can use energy as a weapon over America's head. It's ridiculous that we're becoming, under Obama, more and more reliant on these countries. So I need to find this candidate who understands the need for energy independence. We need to open up ANWR. We have to drill and mine domestic resources that are just waiting to be tapped. And then I want to find candidates who understand the need to reduce tax burdens and onerous regulations that are presently killing American industry. And, of course, candidates that have a track record of always pushing for minimization of government to strengthen our economy, minimizing government's reach to allow the private sector to create jobs. I don't want a candidate who thinks that he or she, as a politician, will be creating jobs. Government doesn't create jobs. Private sector does. So hopefully I'll be able to work with these candidates in helping them articulate the message, not in any kind of phony or false way, but their true intentions of where they want to bring this country with those factors, those principles being played out.
Do you see a point in the future where you will be making a decision? In other words, endorsing a particular candidate? In other words, during the primary?
Perhaps, Sean. And I am, the ABO believer, anyone but Obama, and I look forward to wholeheartedly supporting the nominee that rises through this process. Perhaps before the entire primary process is over, I would endorse, but really look forward to hearing more details from all of them.
Yeah, and you're planning, I see, to go back out on the road, and you're going to campaign for congressional candidates and gubernatorial candidates and Senate candidates, and I assume you're going to try and probably help campaign for whoever gets the nomination at some point.
Absolutely. We got to remember we have 33 Senate seats that we get to concentrate on. We're not just
This is
talking in
huge.
2012, the office of the presidency. We have Senate seats, and of course it's the legislative branch that is going to be directing in so many aspects where our country goes. And we have a House that we can strengthen with more constitutional conservatives, fiscal conservatives, being able to be in there holding the purse strings for our country. So we have those seats that we need to concentrate on. And yes, I'm hitting the road already. Tonight, Todd and I fly out to Missouri, and then the next night, Virginia, to do different speeches. And I go to a business conference in South Korea the next day, traveling nationally and internationally to get the word out there that America is the exceptional nation. And unless we defend our republic, the world will be less prosperous and safe and healthy, because it all depends on where America goes, where we, as leaders of the free world, where America heads, so goes the rest of the world.
That's extraordinarily well said. Governor, we always appreciate your time, and I know this is probably a difficult decision, and we look forward to seeing you out there on the campaign trail quite a bit, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I think whoever wins this nomination will be the next president, so I really appreciate you being with us, and we'll talk to you soon and see you out on the road.
Thank you so much. I want to thank C for P, O for P. People have worked so hard for the potential Palin candidacy. Thank you to my supporters. I don't want to let you down. We're not retreating. We're going to continue to go forward, reloading with truth and with passion for this country.
Last question. Do you feel liberated now that the decision is made a little bit?
Oh, you don't even know. Absolutely. I feel like the shackles are off again. I mean, it's a little bit going rogue where here we go, guys. We can do and say and be who we need to be in order to turn things around in this country. Yeah, it's liberating.
All right, Governor Sarah Palin on the Sean Hannity Show. Thank you, Governor. Really appreciate you being with us.
Thank you so much.
We'll continue from news